Welcome to this week's edition of On the Prowl. I'm Amy, this is Evan, and that's Ashley.
We're going to start out today with some baseball news since there has actually been 4 games this week since our last show. Last Wednesday, the Clemson Tigers defeated Western Carolina 11-5. On Friday, Clemson started the series against Elon and defeated them 1-0. The game started out slow on Friday afternoon, and the game was forced into extra innings due to a 0-0 score at the bottom of the 9th inning. In the 13th inning, Robert Jolly finally scored Clemson's first run thanks to Seth Beer's 2-out single. There's 3 Tiger pitchers, Charlie Barnes, Riley Gilliam, and Brooks Crawford, who combined for a school record of 23 strikeouts against no walks. So this is actually a new record that hasn't been made since April 30th, 1923, which was only 21 strikeouts, and again on against South Carolina.
Only 21 strikeouts.
Yeah.
No big deal.
And then again on against South Carolina on April 4th, 1952. So the Tigers actually defeated Elon again with a huge win of 13-5 on Saturday. Number 12, Clemson scored in each of the first 7 innings. The first 4 runs were scored in the first inning, and after 2 more in the second, Chase Pinder added 2 more runs in the third on his 2-run double. On Sunday, the Tigers defeated Elon again 3-0 to sweep the series. Alex Eubanks tossed 7 scoreless innings in number 12 Clemson's 3-0 win over Elon at Doug's King Moore Stadium on Sunday afternoon.
Not Raymond James Stadium.
Not Raymond James Stadium. The Tigers swept the series 3-0 and improved to 5-2 for their record for the season, while the Phoenix fell to 3-4. Eubanks gave up just 3 hits, no runs, and 1 walk with 7 strikeouts to earn the win. Jacob Hennessy pitched the final 2 innings to record his first career save. Elon starter Kyle suffered the loss as he yielded 2 runs on 4 hits with 5 strikeouts and 4 innings pitched. Patrick Cromwell started the scoring leadoff with a homer, his first homer actually for the Tigers, in the 5th inning. Robert Jolly also added a run in the frame on a wild pitch. Then Davison scored on another wild pitch in the 6th inning. The Tigers are hosting Wofford right now on the ACC Network Extra, and the Tigers actually are leading 4-1 in the middle of the 6th inning. Good luck, Tigers.
A quick update, it's the end of the 6th inning now, according to Clemson Baseball on Twitter. So that's a lot of baseball, but as much as that was, there's even more track and field because this past weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the ACC Track and Field Championships took place, and there was a lot of good competition, a lot of good performances by our Tigers. So let me just try to run through this as much as I can. We'll start with day 1, Thursday, February 23rd. Ursula Farrow, Olivia James, Lakeisha Warner, and Grace Barnett looked to repeat as ACC champions in the Clemson Women's Distance Medley Relay. That's a mouthful. They finished with the 2nd fastest time in program history. However, that was not enough as they finished 2nd. They lost by 0.36 seconds. Wow. Notre Dame ended up winning the event. The time is 6 seconds faster than Clemson's championship time a year ago, and it ranks the Tigers 11th fastest in the nation. So despite a losing effort, taking a silver medal and being the 11th fastest team in the nation, still pretty good stuff. That was followed by the men's distance relay team, consisted of John Lewis, Jeffrey Green, Terrell Jackson, and Foe McAfee. They combined for a time of 9 minutes and 40.85 seconds to break a record that they set last season. They finished 5th overall. So that was day 1. That was Thursday. If we move on to day 2, there were more of the field events. It's track and field, so this would be the field portion of that. Guy who was in my comm class last semester, matter of fact, sat right next to me, Chris McBride, ended up winning gold in the long jump, tying his own Clemson indoor record and winning, of course, the ACC. He led the event through the first 2 jumps of the preliminaries, and then in the 3rd jump, William Solomon captured the lead heading into the break, and then Chris came back on his first attempt at the finals and secured the championship with a long jump of 25 feet 6 3/4 inches, which is kind of a long distance there. 12th best jump in the nation. Well done, Chris. On the women's side of the long jump, Angela Collins registered a leap of 20 feet 3.5 inches to win bronze. So 2 medalists there on the men's and women's side of the long jump, so well done there. Collins was also 0.03 seconds from qualifying for the finals in the 60-meter dash, clocking in at 7.42. However, Clemson qualified 4 Tigers in that event as Rebecca Smith, Rainey Ricketts, Tori Robinson, and Sabria Hadley all advanced to the finals. Smith and Ricketts registered the top 2 times of the preliminaries, finishing at 7.31 and 7.36 seconds. Hadley and Ricketts also later qualified in the 200-meter dash as well, with the 3rd and 7th fastest times of the preliminaries. So we got some fast girls here at Clemson, if you didn't know. We nearly had 3 more qualifiers in the 800-meter run. However, Dana Maydew's 3-second personal best was just shy of advancing her to her first collegiate finals race. On the men's side of some of this, we got Kirk Lewis ran the 2nd fastest time in the 60-meter hurdles to qualify for the finals, while John Lewis was Clemson's lone qualifier in the 800-meter run. Lewis clocked in at 7.88 in the 60-meter hurdles, and the other Lewis finished 3rd in the 800 meters at 1 minute 48.94 seconds. This is all on Friday, by the way, so we're still on Friday. Last year's ACC indoor medalists in the 400-meter are in position for a repeat heading into Saturday's finale. This is an article that was written on Friday. Jeffrey Green, Michael Cheeks, and Cordell Lamb advanced to the finals on Saturday. Green had the fastest time of the preliminaries, just a little over 46 seconds. Cheeks also a little over 46 seconds, Lamb a little over 47 seconds. So some fast guys here at Clemson too. So that was Friday. And then we move on to some of the finals. On Saturday, I can tell you the men's and the women's overall winners, it's a point-based system based on the different events. So on the women's side, the point-based system, Clemson finished 2nd place in the ACC across the entire track and field spectrum. They scored a total of 98 points. So it was not close between 2nd and 3rd. Florida State finished 3rd. They had 74 points. First place Miami had 113. So a bit of a gap between 1st, a bigger gap between 3rd. So a solid 2nd place finish for our Lady Tigers in the track and field championships. The men, not quite as good. They finished 4th. They had 76 overall points. Virginia Tech took home the overall ACC track and field championships win on the men's side with 109 points. So overall, not bad performances by our men's and women's track and field team. That was a lot. There's 3 days worth of information, so I'm going to stop talking for a little bit.
So in basketball news, it's another week, another set of close losses for the men's basketball team.
Don't remind me.
Yes, folks, it's true. Your Tigers fell to 2 ACC teams in the last few seconds by a combined 3 points. Last Tuesday, the Tigers traveled to unranked Virginia Tech to take on the Hokies for Clemson's final away game of the regular season. Clemson turned the ball over in the final 4 seconds to allow a Hokie 3-pointer for the win. Once again, Clemson is smacked with a heartbreaking loss with a final score of 71-70. On a positive note, the Tigers had 4 players score in double figures, with Marquise Reed leading the way with 18.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Still, Saturday, the 19th-ranked Seminoles of Florida State made their way to Little John to take on our Tigers. 2 seniors, Jerron Blossom Game and Sidi Jete, had big games for Clemson, scoring 24 points and 12 points respectively. It was Blossom Game's 30th contest with 20 points scored. Jete scored recorded 12 rebounds against the Giants of Florida State. And I was actually on the baseline for this game. It was war rebounding that basketball, so congrats to him. The score was close the whole game, so it was no surprise when it came down to the final seconds. The Noles hit a pair of free throws and a layup to take the lead late. Clemson had the chance to even the score, but missed the clutch shot with a few seconds remaining, making the final score 76-74. The men's basketball team is now 14-14 overall and 4-12 in the ACC. They will take on NC State tomorrow night and Boston College on Saturday, and both of those games are at home. Believe it or not, Clemson is ranked above both of those teams in the ACC, so please go support them this week.
Definitely some must-wins if they want to keep their tournament hopes alive. The tournament hopes are slim right now, but those are 2 must-win games for our men's basketball team.
Absolutely. The women's basketball team fought for 40 minutes, but ultimately could not come back from a big halftime deficit, falling 72-58 to Georgia Tech in Atlanta on Thursday evening. The Tigers committed 16 first-half turnovers, which led to 18 points for the Yellow Jackets.
Jeez.
Nellie Perry and Kobe Thornton scored in double figures for the Tigers. With the loss, the Tigers conclude the regular season 14-15 overall and 3-13 in the ACC. Clemson will play Virginia Tech in the first round of the ACC Championship tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Coastal Carolina, so good luck to them.
I know the records for the women's basketball team don't sound all that good. They're a game under 500, and they're 3-13 in league play, but that's 3 more ACC games than they won last year and the year before that combined. So a lot of progress being made over there for the women's basketball team, so we can't be too mad about that.
That's true.
On the tennis side of things, the men's and women's tennis teams were both in action this past week. Like I told you last week, the men's tennis team was traveling to Ithaca, New York this weekend to play a pair of games. They lost to number 24 ranked Cornell 4-1 on Friday. Our number one singles player, Alex Favreau, he's French, so I hope I'm saying that name right. He's a junior. He scored the only point of the entire match for us on Friday against the Big Red, which ended a 3-game losing streak for him. So a little bright spot in an otherwise poor day on the court for the men's tennis team. That dropped them to 8-3 overall. They turned around the next day, lost 4-1 again. Number 31 ranked Wisconsin lost that game on Saturday. Favreau, again, hope I'm saying that right. He won in 3 sets to earn the only point again for the Tigers. So after a 3-game losing streak, Alex now has a 2-game winning streak. So again, another bright spot in an otherwise poor day on the courts. That dropped the team to 8-4 overall, and they will be playing Georgia Tech this Friday at home at the Hoke Sloan Tennis Center at 5 p.m. So looking to get back on the winning path there against a fellow ACC foe. The women, on the other hand, did fare a little bit better. They had a home match this past Saturday against the Paladins of Furman from right up 85. They won 5-2, which brought the team record to 3-5 on the season. Furman dropped to 7-5. The women's tennis team will be back in action this Friday, 3 p.m. in Chapel Hill against the number three ranked Lady Tar Heels. So going to be a tough road test this weekend for our women's tennis team.
So in cross-country news, I'm actually going to brag on Grace Barnett a little bit more. We already talked about how she was this amazing track athlete, and she's also an amazing cross-country athlete. So both the ACC and the USTFCCA honored this Tiger this afternoon, highlighting the list of accolades as Clemson's first cross-country ACC Scholar Athlete of the Year. Barnett and Logan Morris, who also runs track, were both named to the All-ACC Academic Team, as well as the USTFCCA All-Academic Team. Barnett enjoyed the best cross-country season by a Clemson female student athlete in over 2 decades. Her third-place finish at the ACC Championships earned her back-to-back all-conference seasons. Her fourth-place finish at the Southeast Regional claimed all-region honors, and she became the program's first All-American since 1990, when she took 9th at the National Champions.
All right, so for our last segment tonight, instead of doing our usual final prowl, we're going to go with another kind of game that we don't have a name for, but it does involve the lovely whiteboards. We'll come up with a name for it later, we promise. But how this game is basically going to work is we are going to rate the various sporting events that we have attended here at Clemson since being students on a scale of 1 to 10 based on the overall entertainment factor, how much fun we had at the event, how much it was worth it to actually be there. So just ranking our favorite Clemson sporting events here on campus.
So I guess we're going to start out with, I'd have to say, everybody's favorite sport at Clemson, football. And we're going to rate this event, obviously.
Scale of 1 to 10. Probably break your scale, but that's okay. So I will go first because I probably have a different answer than y'all do. I'm going to go with an 8 to 10. Most of the time it is a 10. Let me explain the 8. So I've attended every football game my freshman and my sophomore year, and I've had a variety of seats at those games. I've been on the hill. I've been 2 rows from the field. I've been in the top of the upper deck. So at the top of the upper deck, obviously it's not quite as fun as being front row. So being at the very top of the upper deck, it's just not quite as loud. It's not quite as entertaining. So I give that an 8. It's still a great time, still a great atmosphere, but you just can't beat being in the front row of the student section. The Tigers standing right in front of you. Clay Cooper, our hype man, with the microphone standing right there. Football players come over to celebrate with you after a touchdown. You just can't beat that.
That's true.
So I'm going to go next. I said 10,000. So I definitely broke the scale on that. I've grown up going to Clemson games. I have pictures from when I am 6 months old wearing tiger ears and cheerleading uniforms, and I've just always absolutely loved going to these events. And I don't think anything can even compare to a home Clemson football game.
True.
And I've been to my fair share of football stadiums, my fair share of sporting events, and by far, Clemson is hands down the most exciting 25 seconds of football when they're running down the hill, and the most exciting
4 hours after that's pretty good too.
The most exciting 4 hours after that. Regardless of if we win or lose, we are always on the field after the game singing the alma mater, and I think that just shows how much spirit the school has and how much love everybody has for Clemson football.
That's why I gave the upper deck an 8. You can't make it down to the field to sing the alma mater after the game's over.
You can try to jump.
I got a parachute.
I gave football also a 10,000, unless it's August, because you'll sweat to death.
Yes.
I don't
That is
suggest
true.
going the
Pro
first
tip.
game. It's kind of rough.
Those are rough.
Especially on the hill, you do not want to wear cowgirl boots on the
that's
hill.
Gross.
Your calves will be killing you.
You'll smell weird too.
Word of advice to incoming freshmen.
When was your first football game? Clemson football game, first one you went to?
As a freshman?
No, ever.
I came, let's see, my sophomore year of high school.
That's your first?
And then,
Clemson? Okay.
Yeah, my family wasn't like strictly Clemson fans or anything like that, but and then I've been on the hill and in lower deck and on the field.
Nice.
On the field.
That you can't beat that.
That's hard to beat, guys.
When was your Clemson football game? First Clemson football game?
My first Clemson football game, I said earlier I was 6 months old, but I was born in October, so I was probably a month old. I'm not going to lie, my parents probably took me when I was a month old.
I went to my first Clemson football game in February. That's still not 6 months. But.
I can tell you one thing. When my parents took me to my first USC Clemson game, I fell asleep at kickoff on my dad's lap, and he had to hold me the whole time, could never stand up. And then I woke up as the fans were tearing down the field goal post because this is before we had the electronic field goal posts that go up and down.
Fun.
So I missed the entire game, but I had an excuse because I was like a month old. But
I got both of y'all beat. My first Clemson football game I attended was from inside my mother's womb. It was about 2.5 months before I was born.
I'm
so
sure.
I've been a Tiger before I've been a person. So I remember that like it was yesterday.
I went to some Jimmy Buffett concerts as well.
Nice.
In the womb.
Fun times.
So the next sport we're going to rate is soccer. So how do you rate soccer games?
Oh, man.
I'll go ahead and go first. This is kind of embarrassing and sad, but I actually haven't been to a soccer game yet.
Oh, no.
Last semester was super busy, so that's going to be my excuse.
I can't
but
draw this number.
I've heard they're great, so I'll go next year.
Question mark, good number.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So I'll actually go next. I'm going to give it a 6. So I've actually never been a huge soccer fan until I came to Clemson. My brother was a senior when I was a freshman, and he loved Clemson soccer. So one day after the first Friday parade, all of the sororities had to attend a soccer game, and I still am in a sorority, 80 Pi, and I went with my brother and some of my sorority sisters, and I had a really good time, but unfortunately that's the only one I've ever gone to, so I can only give it a 6 because we lost that game.
Oh, bummer.
So everybody was really upset, but.
Okay, I am gonna go with a 9.5. I went to several soccer games my freshman year. I lived on that side of campus. I played soccer from the time I was about 4 years old all the way up to my senior year of high school, so I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for soccer. My roommate played soccer as well, so we went to a lot of the soccer games. It was a lot of fun. The weather was usually pretty good, wasn't too hot. Towards the end it did get a little too cold, but it definitely been to some fun soccer games. The student section's on their feet the whole time. They do all the usual soccer chants. It's a lot of fun to get to know the soccer players, just because they come over to the student section after the game, sing the alma mater with you. It's a bit more personal than some of the football players. I just really enjoy going to those soccer games, and I hate I didn't make it to more this year.
Well, we'll definitely have to make it to some.
You should definitely go. Gotta go to a good one. Gotta go to one they win.
So our next topic is baseball, and I drew a nice little baseball here for you
Oh,
guys.
nice.
Not an artist, but I tried.
That's all right. Oh gosh, that's bad. I'm just not in the writing mood tonight, apparently.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. I gave it a 7. I've been to one also before I got here. I enjoyed it. I just like baseball. It's nice. You can kind of like sit back and relax, and it's not like super tense most of the time. So I enjoyed it.
I gave it an 8. I'm also a huge baseball fan. It's probably my second favorite sport behind football. The only thing that I'm not really fond of is the fact that not that many students come to support our baseball team. I've been to almost every single game this season so far, which isn't saying a lot because we haven't had very many. But, it's just kind of sad knowing that so many students go to the football games, and then our baseball team won the ACC championship last year, and yet we still don't have a huge turnout. But personally, I just enjoy the atmosphere. I love 7th inning stretch. I love eating Dippin' Dots and hot dogs while watching them play baseball. So I definitely encourage everybody to go at least once to see how you like it.
Yeah, I give it an 8.5. I went to, I want to say, a good handful of baseball games. my freshman year. Hadn't made it to one yet this year. Living off campus makes that a little tougher. But a baseball game, the atmosphere at one of those is great no matter where you go or who's playing. Doesn't matter if you're pulling for either of the teams that are involved. You can't beat a good old-fashioned All-American baseball game. You get you a hot dog, a cold soda, catch you a foul ball, smell of popcorn and peanuts in the air. You sing, all the classics. It's on a sunny day at a baseball field. You just can't beat that. Love a good baseball game.
Very cliche American for sure.
America's pastime.
Give me a slice of apple pie, a hot dog, and a baseball game, and I'm happy for a while.
Well, thank you so much for watching tonight's episode of On the Prowl. The Tigers bases were fully loaded all week across the board, including in academics. So good luck to all of our sports teams this week and all of our students who are participating in midterms. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. It's close.